Today we're talking about how to create your own schedule as a real estate agent. I have completely built my business on my own terms around my life to the point where I don't think I would have even believed when I was a new agent that it was possible to have this amount of freedom and just like this type of schedule as a real estate agent and still have a successful business. But it is. My husband and I are basically both stay-at-home parents while also running a successful real estate business, and it is not stressful really or chaotic at all most days, to be completely honest. And so it is possible, and that's what we're going to be sharing. There is a statistic, if you're a real estate agent, you've probably heard it. I think it's somewhere around 90% of all real estate agents that get their license are out of the business within the first 5 years. So 90% of all realtors, they don't even make it 5 years in the industry. And I think one of the reasons for that is because when you become a real estate agent, you are starting your own business and you are now all of a sudden a business owner, and you all of a sudden, you're not an employee, you are an independent contractor. And I think that's something that a lot of people, I think that's one reason why the failure rate is so high in real estate, is because a lot of people don't look at it like that. They look at it like they're just getting a new job. They don't realize that they're actually starting a business, which means that they need a little bit of structure. They need systems and some consistency. You cannot just wake up and like see where the day goes most days, because that's not going to bring you a successful, sustainable business if this is actually your career like it is for my husband and I. So I will share first my schedule and then we'll get into some tips. I've had the same schedule since I had my daughter. Okay, actually, let's just backtrack real quick first. So when I was a new real estate agent, when I was 18, my schedule looked so very different than it does now. Back then, I had very few responsibilities and really a lot of time. And I really had no reason to not just work a ton and to try to reach my goals, because real estate was, and it still is, a big passion of mine, but I really had no reason not to just work a lot. The biggest thing though that kept me going and like motivated me and fueled me, I guess you could say, to work a lot when I was new in real estate, when I was so young, was because I had this vision in the back of my mind of how I wanted my real estate business to look once my husband and I started a family, which amazingly, that is how it looks now, and I will share about that and share how we do it and all of that. But that was like the big motivator that got me through the like hustle phase of the business. And so all of that to say, I don't know if it's possible to just jump in and become a new agent and skip the hustle phase. If you do, maybe let me know in the comments, because I didn't experience that. I definitely went through that phase first, but it made it okay because I knew this is going to be short term. This hustle phase is what's going to allow me to take a major step back once I have kids, and my life will look a lot different then because of the work I'm putting into my business now, if that makes sense. I also had this vision when I was a new agent of my husband being able to join me, quit his job and join me. I wanted to make enough to retire him, if you will, not actually retire him, but him to be able to quit his job so that he could join me in real estate. And he really did in the perfect timing. It really worked out perfectly, because December 2018, my husband got his license, and then spring 2019 is when I got pregnant with our daughter. And so it was really perfect timing, because then I was able to I took a ton of time off in the first and second trimester because I was sick. And then after I had the baby, I took as much time as I wanted off because I could pass all my clients on to my husband. And if I didn't have him as a team with me, obviously, as you know, if you're a real estate agent, we are business owners, so you don't just get maternity leave. You don't just it doesn't work like that. I have what I call 2 work days a week. And what I mean by that is there are 2 days out of the week. They're the same 2 days every week. They have been since my daughter was a baby. And I take those 2 days and I have my task list, so I know what I'm doing ahead of time. I time block ahead of time what I will be working on and what needs to be prioritized. And I just do as much work as I can. I pack as much of my work as I can into those 2 days. They're not even super long days. It's not like 9 to 5 or anything like that. Generally, I can do it shorter than that, but these are my 2 days where I intentionally have time to myself to work. The rest of the week, however, let's just call them my off work days. I still work during my daughter's nap time. And I know ahead of time, that's like my time block, I guess you could say, her nap time. And on the days she doesn't nap, she has a little quiet time in her room. And that is the time. Sometimes I skip it, but most of the time I do choose to work during that time. And I will just save any work that needs to be done for that day. Once nap time comes, I will sit down and just bust out as much work as I can, as quickly as I can. And then once nap time's over, I'm done with that time block and I leave the work until the next day, and it's okay, because these are things that are not urgent, if that makes sense. A lot of the things I'm doing during that time is like marketing, that type of thing. I do also schedule a lot of home buyer consultations, either over the phone or over Zoom, for either one of my 2 work days, or I will schedule those for my daughter's nap time as well. That's pretty much like the only times that I do those appointments. There are a handful of things that I always do, even when I'm off work, if you will, not during my working hours. And I kind of just categorize it like this because when you're a real estate agent, the work never ends. And I know before I ran my business like this, I would feel like almost like guilty if I wasn't working, because I never really tracked it. I never really had consistent times that I worked. So it was always like, you should always be doing something for work, because the work really doesn't end, and there always is something that you technically could be doing to grow your business, if that makes sense. So having this like structured, like this is my work time and then this is my off time, has really, really helped me in my business and just like with my sanity and clarity. There are a lot of things that I still do when I'm off work. So on my off work days, or when it's a day I'm working during nap time and I'm just not working, it's not nap time, so I'm not working, if that makes sense. If I'm having a call with a client, I pretty much schedule those, and they're okay with this. I've never had a client not be okay with me scheduling the call for a few hours later to wait until nap time. So generally I will schedule calls for nap time. If it's urgent though, then I will always take the call. If it's something where time is of the essence, then of course I will always take the call with my client any time of day, any day of the week, Saturday, Sunday, anytime. Another thing that I always do, even when I'm not working, is I will still write offers during those times. I'm still available to negotiate repairs, write offers, things that are urgent. If it can wait until like a focused time blocked work time that I have, then I will wait until then, but a lot of times it can't. And so I will do those things anytime. And then another thing that I do even when I'm off work is virtual tours, because as a mom that's like a stay-at-home mom but also running a business at the same time, I really like to save the things that I can do with my daughter for when she's with me. And so I can very, very easily go do a virtual tour for a client during a non-work hour, because that's something that I can very, very easily bring my kid with me to, if that makes sense. We've done a ton of them. We have our systems down, like we're good. Basically, I don't want to waste my time away from my daughter where I have that like super focused by myself work time, either when she's napping or on one of my 2 work days. I don't want to waste that time doing something like a virtual tour, because technically I could bring her with me very easily. And I do. I went and did one last night. It was like 9 p.m., got in the car, went and did a virtual tour, and it was awesome. There's a lot of things that I just don't do in my business anymore. I'll give a few examples. I used to attend a lot of different like social happy hours for people in the industry, the real estate industry, or training classes in person, coffee dates with lenders, that type of thing. I really did enjoy those things, but now that I really, really have to just be super intentional with my time, I've just completely cut them out. I don't have time for them. I don't want to say it's not a dollar producing activity, because obviously it could be if you're like really there to network or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's not the thing that's going to bring me the highest level of results with the least amount of resistancy. And although it sounds fun, it is kind of just a waste of time, and my time is better spent elsewhere. Some days are busier than others. Some weeks are busier than others. There's been weeks when my clients are in town and I'm away a lot more than I would like to be, but I also know that those times are really rare, and then I get back to my regular flow of things pretty quickly because my clients, like 99% of the time, are not here in person. They're usually virtual, and so that makes things super easy. However, whenever a client comes into town, that is something I don't make them, how do I say this? I don't make my clients book with me to go look at houses if they are flying into town. I don't make them book with me on one of my 2 work days or during my daughter's nap time. I will go show them houses like whenever works for them. But yeah, besides that, really a lot of, my business has changed so much, my day has changed so much. A lot of what my business looks like right now on my side of things is we're very, like I always say, we are very, very marketing heavy. And so it's very time consuming right now because we are pumping out so much content right now. And that is a big part of what I do. And then I will take on from there a very small amount of clients at a time, mostly only relocation out of state unless a specific instance, and then pass the rest of those on to my husband. Any other, once I'm at my okay, I have my clients I don't really want to work with anymore right now, I will from then pass the rest of the relocation clients that come in onto my husband. They love him, he does a really great job with them as well, and it works out just really good. So anyway, I feel like this video got super rambly, so sorry about that, but thank you. If you are still watching, hit the thumbs up button, comment below. I love chatting with you guys in the comments. I would love to know, what is your schedule like? Is it like similar to mine, or is it super different? I'd love to hear about that in the comments, so let me know, and we'll see you next week.